All right, so hope all you guys are doing very well, and I just want to wish everybody a good day. Sat Sri Akal, Namaste, hello, all of the above. I hope everyone is doing very, very well. So kind of going off of this unplanned stuff, I'm trying to organize my day in a way that I can schedule not just my day but my week, so that I can schedule these things accordingly. And right now my schedule's not working out. But anyways, let's move forward. So I went to this City of Delta bylaw. I'm a Delta resident, and so I went to the City of Delta's bylaw hearing for 7600 2000 and I think they were saying 2017 is what the bylaw is called. And really interesting. There was a lot of people getting really upset about what was going on, what was being proposed. There was a lot of changes coming. Apparently it was very overdue. These changes were very overdue, and but a lot of unhappy people. So I'm gonna kind of recap what happened. I'm gonna put a link in the description to the link to the story. Wow, I can't talk today. To the story that was published, and you guys can take a read for yourself. It's more in depth as to things that were changed. So the changes that came into play, they wanted to. The biggest issue that people were talking about was the secondary suite, the parking situation for the secondary suite, and the prerequisites that were required to be able to have a legal secondary suite. So that was the biggest hoo-ha. And then the other biggest thing that people brought up was the 11 meter front to going up to the 12 meter front for subdividing and all that other stuff. They haven't, I'll get into that. So basically, the other one that they touched on, the other thing that they touched on that people really wanted was, and I scratched my head on this one as well, and somebody brought up at one of the public hearings, brought up an interesting point, that if you brought it down to the proposed size that they were thinking about changing the accessory building to, you couldn't even get a sheet of plywood inside to go ahead and cut it. Or even store it, which was pretty comical in my opinion. You got these city engineers and you got all these people, consultations and all these things going on, and they didn't think about, okay, maybe somebody's using their accessory building as storage or a workshop or anything like that. But anyways, so let's get into it. First thing that was on the agenda was the 11 meters going to 12 meter frontage. So they haven't imposed that yet, because apparently they got to go to another public hearing for that. So they're gonna leave it be for now. So that's kind of in limbo. Then came the shed size. So currently the shed size auxiliary building was 20 square meters in size. They were proposing to change it to 10 meter square, which is 10 by 10. You can't even get a sheet of plywood or 2x4s if you wanted to store anything, let alone, you know, if you put shelving units and stuff in there. That's what some of the people were saying. If you put shelving units inside of a 10 by 10 shed, there goes half your space. You got really no more like walking space. If you wanted to put a lawnmower inside, you couldn't do that. So they didn't change that rule, so it stayed to 20. It's staying to 20 meters squared. Then the biggest thing that was on the agenda was the secondary suite and its prerequisites and the parking situation associated with the secondary suite. So parking situation, what they wanted was really stupid in my opinion. It would have caused a lot of hardship. It would have caused a lot of people to not be able to put in a rental suite. We already have a rental. In my opinion, I think it's a rental crisis. There aren't enough rentals out there right now for people that are wanting to get into that are looking for a rental. My personal experience with rental is just past week. I put my rental up because it's been vacated. So I have a rental 2-bedroom unit, and within 24 hours, my wife and I, we had about 60 to 70, I can't remember the total number now, 60 to 70 applicants within 24 hours. That tells me something. That tells me people can't find places to live, which long run is kind of scary, okay? So the city of Delta wanted to impose all these new rules. These rules would have gone backwards, not forwards. Backwards meaning there'd be less rentals. So what did they wanted to do? Okay, so you need a minimum 49-foot front on your piece of land. Then you would need the appropriate space on the side of your house. Now, let's picture this. Your garage, you need, I think they were saying, I think it was 12 feet or something like that. 12 feet total, or 11 feet total. It'll be in the news. It'll be in the thing I tell you, the description, the link in the description for the story that was in the news. So they wanted space on the side of your garage. Well, nobody has that space. There's no space available. I think there's only a handful of houses, a very small percentage of houses that, that had that space on the side. I have a new house. I don't have that space on the side. So now the other thing they wanted is say you're building a new house. In order for you to have a rental, you still need that 49 minimum frontage, and you needed to provide a space for the tenant to park. Well, previously they said, okay, you can park in the front, so you can make space in the front for your tenant to park. Well, then they changed their mind. This is where the new bylaw comes that they proposed. They wanted the tenant to park on the side of the house. So in order for you to provide that space, you would need to notch out a section of your house to provide parking space, which didn't make any sense either. So that all that stuff, they didn't push it forward. They're leaving the parking space in the front as they did previously. You don't have to notch your house out anymore if you're building a new house, which I feel bad for the people who, before the bylaw hearings and all that stuff happened, pushed on the last minute, pushed their drawings through to get all this kind of stuff done. I know of at least 4 or 5 people who on the last day got their designers to design and all that other stuff so that they could get their plans submitted before this deadline. And now it's not going forward, which is good, but I feel bad for them because they probably had to spend money to get all that stuff done. But anyways, going forward, I mean, it's a good thing that they're not notching, because I mean, who wants to put a section of their house, that corner of their house not included, right? Like, you're notching it in. That's a full room. That could be a bedroom for, say, grandparents with an ensuite in it. That could be a family living room. That could be a dining area. That could be a full room that's being cut out of the house. So I'm glad that didn't go through. Then the best thing that I think that is going to happen out of all this, and I feel like I'm rambling a little bit, but the best thing that's going to happen is probably going to be coming up in March of this year. They have another meeting coming up, which I'm kind of excited about, because they're going to talk about the development process in North Delta and the North Delta housing cap, which is unbelievable, because the cap and the development process is only in North Delta. It's not in South Delta, so Ladner, Tsawwassen and area. They don't have that, which I'm looking very forward to them removing. But anyways, there's more information in the story that I'm gonna link in the description, so definitely go take a look at it. And I'm gonna get back upstairs. I'm sitting in my car. I was gonna do this outside, but it's a little windy, so I figured let's just leave it. So I don't know if some of you guys, I just had to come back to my office, and I just decided to read the news a little bit. And I thought my vlog was going to be a little bit short today, but it isn't. I decided to come and read the news a little bit, and I made some notes, and I just finished reading another story, which is pretty interesting. Lots of new changes since the budget came out. They're talking about a speculation tax. They're talking about a foreign buyer tax increase. So let's talk about this speculation tax here just for a brief moment. It's going to target those people, even if you're a Canadian citizen, let alone foreign buyers. It's going to target Canadian citizens. So basically, it's going to target vacation homes. It'll apply to those who don't pay income tax in BC, i.e. foreign buyers. So the things that are going to be exempt, I'm not going to get into details. I will link the story in the description so you guys can go ahead and read it for yourself. I'm just going to kind of give a Coles Note type version of what I read. Principal residences will be exempt, and rental properties with long-term rentals will be exempt. So you won't be taxed if you have long-term renters in there and if it is your principal residence. So you do not have to pay the speculation tax. However, if you don't live in Canada or you don't have that house occupied, you are going to get hit with this speculation tax. So the speculation tax for 2018, they're saying that they're going to roll it out at 5%. So if we look at assessed value of the assessed value. So if we look at, let's say for example, a $900,000 property at 5%, you're looking at $4,500 in tax just for the year. So that's not too bad, but it's money that you didn't budget for, so it could be a problem to some people. The 2019, they're going to roll it up to 2%. So if you have a $900,000 assessed value property at 2%, you're looking at an additional $18,000 for the year. Doesn't sound like much, but $18,000 for the year could be a substantial amount of money for somebody. 5% to start off, and then 2% in 2019 is what they're going to bump it up to. And it will be charged annually. So the other thing that the budget brought in was the foreign buyer tax. Now we all know, everybody's like, oh, foreign buyers. So they put this tax on it at 15%. Well, they've just increased it to 20% for this year. And also, they've included Kamloops, Kelowna, Fraser Valley, and the Greater Victoria area to be included in this foreign buyer tax. So those are some of the changes. Then there's another motion that I was reading that got called Vancouver Council, is they're thinking about putting in a flipping tax. Now, from what I read, and it is very true, a lot of people are buying condos, and then before the condo's even ready, they sell the contract to that condo, to that unit, and making money off of it, whether it be a few $1,000s to a couple $1,000s. You know what I'm saying? If not like a substantial amount of money. And so what they're saying is there's loopholes that that they want to target, and it's understandable, because when they assign the contract, you're not paying a property transfer tax, so that's a loophole, and a lot of people are getting away with it. And so they're thinking about stopping this loophole somehow. I don't know how they'll do it, whether they'll put a tax on assignment clauses or they'll stop assignment clauses, but I mean, if somebody's going to sell their contract, they're going to sell their contract. I know developers, if you assign your contract, they actually charge you a percentage before you could sell it, or you got to wait after a certain period of time to sell that contract. They put some type of stipulation in place, but I mean, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens to the market with this budget, where the housing is going to go, detached, what detached is going to do, what attached properties are going to do. Nobody knows. It's all speculation at the end of the day, right? You never know what's going to happen. But I think I've rambled on too much. This is some good information. I'm going to put the links to all this stuff, the Delta Bylaws change that came into play, the speculation tax news, the foreign buyer tax news, There's a thing on the VP budget for 2018. I'll put that in the link as well, because there's some foreign buyer stuff in there, and there's some other stuff in there that you can read. But if this is your first time coming to my page, to my channel, I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much. Please do hit that subscribe button. I'm trying to grow this channel, and I can't do that without your guys' help, so I really do appreciate everybody that takes time out of their day to come and view these videos. And if you did like this video and you found it very informative and kind of gave you some insight, give it a thumbs up. I really do appreciate that. It helps me out with my ratings and whatnot, even though I probably don't have really any ratings right now because I'm still new at this thing. So all the help I can get is always appreciated, and I do appreciate everybody's time. So once again, I'm rambling. Thank you for coming. Thank you for subscribing. If you have subscribed, please hit that bell icon next to the subscribe button, and it will give you notifications every time that I post a new video. Thank you for coming. Take care. Have a great day. Bye for now.